Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Vanya. Apologies for the slightly dusty voice, but there you go. Arimai, Nuimai Morena. It is Maori Language Week, as Vanya said, and as she said, it is also Money Week, but it is also 9/11, and for, I'm sure, most of us, or all of us in the room, that was a day that changed the world, if we reflect back to where we were on that particular day. Really big thank you for everyone coming to join us over yesterday and the next 2 days for basically investing in yourselves, investing in the sector, and basically sharing ideas as we build a more robust and more substantive sector as we go forward. In my opening remarks, I just wanted to touch on three key things. The first one is around well-being. And, when you think about well-being, the budget came out, a lot of us looked at it and said, I wonder what this actually means. Let's unpack what well-being means. So it's actually a national conversation. It is something that we face into every day. It opens the doors to many other kinds of conversations because it's about health and wealth. It's about housing. It's about our kids. It's about our families. It's about businesses. It's about the way we work and play. It's about the way we think about diversity and inclusion. It is about our values, and it is about what we value, and it is us as a nation. In a few moments' time, you're going to see that come to life. Earlier on this year, I was elected to the St. Thomas's School Council, and sitting around the school council, thinking about things like, how will the physical structure of the school enable well-being? How do we help teachers look after their well-being? How do we help the broader community? So these are live conversations taking place all across the nation. And of course, today and tomorrow, it's about trying to explore and tease out for ourselves what that actually makes and make it make sense to us. So if I just bridge from that to the discussion around culture and conduct, and as Rob said, it's been a really tough year for the sector. I think there's been somewhere around 23 different consultations. When you stack them all up across all the jurisdictions, across all the agencies, I can tell you that the FSC's reg team has been hard at work, crafting responses and so forth. And whilst there is a huge amount of volume, they're all hoping to get us into a better place. And I guess for the people who have had a little bit of reg overload, if you're thinking it must be Monday, there must be another reg submission coming your way, then you could be forgiven, right? For going, oh my God, when will this ever end? But I urge us all to step back from the minutiae of the reg changes and step back and say, ultimately, where's this going to get us? And there's two places it's going to get us. Ultimately, it's about good customer outcomes, which probably, like well-being, needs a whole bunch of fleshing out so that we really understand what it means in all the different layers and textures. And the second thing is, this is all in many ways New Zealand's reg regime coming up to world's best practice. So when we step out of the detail and go, what are the big objectives we're trying to achieve with all this regulatory change, certainly within the FSC, that's the weather vane that we're keeping our eye on and becomes important. So finally, let me just touch briefly on a document that we launched yesterday. One of the things the FSC does a lot of is now deep research and insight. We go on the streets, we talk to people, we find out stuff. But what we've done and what we launched last night was KiwiSaver 2050. It's our first discussion paper that is not going to the streets and asking people what do they think, but it's actually a deep investigation on academic sources, on a global lens on what's happening in KiwiSaver. The numbers are pretty staggering. I'll come back to that. The numbers are pretty staggering. The sector today is worth around $60-odd billion. By 2050, that number has swelled in 2050 dollars to just under $1 trillion. And if you look at it in real dollars, just under $500 billion. So think about the growth. Think about the impact that is going to have on New Zealanders' lives, the way they think about retirement, the way they prepare for retirement, but think about that as a national savings pool. And as we heard yesterday from Jeremy Cooper in regards to the Australian system, what does that mean for capital markets? What does it mean for growth of our sector? What does it mean the growth of skills and capability? And how do we take that message into New Zealand? So I think there's a very strong correlation between that conversation and the conversation that takes place around making sure that we are fit to play, that we have a robust and best practice sector from a conduct perspective, a governance perspective, and ultimately a reputational perspective. So I'll leave it at that in terms of the paper. It is in your bag. It is a conversation starter. It is something that we're going to get to grips with within the FSC, within the various FSC committees. And I encourage anyone who's got an interest in that area to enjoy it and basically come and challenge the status quo. On that note, let me wish you a good 2 days of conference. Again, thanks you for your attendance. I really appreciate our sponsor support, our stakeholder support, our ministerial support. It's just fantastic that over the last 3 years this event has grown and grown in terms of what we're trying to achieve, and that is to have a national conversation around the value of our sector and take it from this room into the broader marketplace. Thanks very much.